It'll be going live. It's processing now. So normally I'll if you want to, you could put your mic on mute. It'll just take a little bit for me to share the video. So we should be actually getting started. Hopefully, I won't say hopefully, but by 7:05, 7:03, 7:05.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, the live feed is up. So if you want to share it to your timeline, you can do that. All right. All right, welcome. I see we have a couple people watching. Just give us a few minutes while I get everything finalized. I appreciate you for logging on. If you wouldn't mind just taking a second to like and share the video, it'd be much appreciated. I need some background music, like elevator music. Okay. All right, Cleveland, New York. All right, 7:02. Thanks for logging on, everybody. We'll get started in about 3 minutes. Appreciate your patience. Okay. All right, so we got some more folks logging on. I'm just finishing up with sharing the video. So we should get started. 2 minutes is the goal, 2 minutes. Okay. All right, we're just about there. All right, thanks for logging on, everyone. We will get started in 1 minute. Just finishing up. Okay, one more will do. Embrace the moment. And BML. Okay, all right, we are good to go. 7:04 is the last one. Okay, all right, we're good to go. All right, so we have a live audience And if you are watching live, do me a favor and just comment and let us know where you logging on from, what part of the country. If we're lucky, we might have some folks from around the world logging on. But anyway, just make a comment and let me know where you're logging on from. Also, we want this to be interactive. We've got a little less than an hour to do our interview, so hopefully we'll be able to cover a lot of things. But we also want to make sure that we answer or at least try to answer some questions in the process. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and drop them in the comment section. And then towards at some point, I'll also be putting some information in the comments so that you can connect with our special guest today, so you can connect with her a little bit more. And she's got a special gift for you all, and I'll let her tell you about that in a few. I see we've got New York in the building. We've got Cincinnati in the building. I know I got a couple people that aren't too shy to comment, so I appreciate you all. For everybody else that's a little silent, I see DeVoe's on the line, Cincinnati again. Just let us know where you're logging in from. It's always interesting and it's always nice to just see who's connecting with us from around the country and around the world. And we're able to do this through the power of technology. So tonight we have a very special guest on, one who I am excited to have not only today, but she's also going to educate us in a couple of weeks on February, I believe the second Wednesday of February. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but just to give you a quick snapshot of our special guest, and then I'll ask her to introduce herself and let us know who she is and what she does. But we have Madhavi Nade Jain. Did I say that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. All right, so Madhvi is the president of Think Outside the Stocks, and she is a wealth strategist. Her company provides alternative investment options outside of the Wall Street roller coaster by utilizing a two-step approach with her investors. One, she helps her investors implement an efficient saving strategy through the concept of infinity banking. And second, she provides hassle-free investment opportunities through syndicated commercial real estate investments. Through an educational based approach, she teaches you how to leverage the two strategies simultaneously to maximize your money's growth potential. She has 16 plus years of strong project management experience from the IT industry, working with one of the top five consulting firms. And she brings that experience and that longevity to her company, Think Outside the Stocks. Her excellent analytical skills, out of the box thinking, mathematics background, her detailed process oriented approach, paired with data mapping and interpreting skills, lay a solid foundation for evaluating and reviewing investment opportunities based on tangible parameters. I love it.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much for that introduction.
No problem, no problem. So, just a couple things. I definitely want to touch on and from your bio, but tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me here. It's such an honor. And I think this is my first Facebook Live with anybody,
Okay.
just doing the complete interview. So this is a special one.
Perfect.
Thank you. So yeah, a little bit about me, as you said earlier. I come from the IT background, so we came to this country, of course, with the job and been in this industry for such a long time. And about 5 years back, I had to leave my job due to personal reasons. And right after the job, this whole world of alternate investment just opened up for me. I think working in the IT industry, the time is, the number of hours that you put in is so long.
Hmm.
Plus you're raising two kids and managing your family. Just didn't have that kind of time. And I think that's what happens with busy professionals who are not just in IT industry but any industry, that they don't have that kind of time.
Hmm.
So that's exactly what I was 5 years ago. And with this reason, my personal reasons, my health reasons actually led me to this entire new world of alternate investments. And when I started looking into it one after other strategies, I was looking for something which was completely passive. That passive was really the key for me.
Mm-hmm.
And while doing that, I found these two strategies. One is to make your savings really efficient, because believe me or not, but we ignore our savings the most. We think that our savings are with the banks and they are, FDIC insured. They are not losing any money. Technically is right. We never see that it's
Mm-hmm.
going down. But if you think about it, the busy professionals, to leverage the knowledge of syndication.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the two strategy that I try to bring with think outside the stocks, because I really like this out of the box mentality. I believe that if these two strategies can be implemented in somebody's life, somebody's financial strategy, they really have this huge impact. It's like an 80-20 rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with think outside the stocks, that's my approach. That's the twofold approach that I try to help investors, so that your savings are not ignored, as well as your investments are, first of all, risk free and passive completely.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like it. So one of the things we like to talk about on this show, and I'll circle back with all of the great information that you gave us. One of the things I like to do on this segment is to kind of highlight the entrepreneurial journey, coupled with some of your life journey. So we kind of go back all the way back to the beginning, and I like to ask just what was life like for you growing up?
Uh-huh.
What was your exposure to entrepreneurship growing up, or were you exposed to entrepreneurship growing up? And then were there any life experiences that kind of well, I know how you pushed into entrepreneurship, but are there any other life experiences that kind of pushed you into entrepreneurship or motivated you to become an entrepreneur, or kind of helped sustain you as an entrepreneur?
What a great question, Kevin. I love that. And you're asking that question, and I'm thinking so many things in my mind, that what really led me to it, right? I'm really excited to answer this. So going back in the childhood, right? Like I said, that my whole approach to the life has been completely that out of the box thinking, even before I started understanding it, right? So constantly thinking differently since the childhood, just being creative about things, when it comes to problems, when it comes to what solutions that can be provided for those problems, right? So I had that going on in me. But traditional schooling and traditional education, and when I got to the through the campus, got my first job in the IT industry.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so my daughter, actually, she started her business when she was 12. It's all started with like an art project with her. And I just it's just about that discussion and that kind of encouragement, and what she
Mhm,
wanted to do, what we discuss as a family, as
mhm,
as a mom to the kids. So
mhm.
she started making hand painted jewelry on the back of the domino tiles, the
Okay.
dominoes that we play
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
And with that, I mean, it just one after other, she just within first year itself, she actually had a goal that time in mind, to book her own car. And within one
Mm,
year, she actually put $1,000 deposit towards Tesla Model 3. That's what they were booking them back then. And she
really,
booked her Tesla Model 3 within a year. Of course, I
really.
mean, she's grown, and her priorities has changed after
Yeah.
that. And she focuses on giving back to the community, so 100% of the profit actually goes back to community now. And just this last summer, she actually conducted a summer camp to
Mm,
create new entrepreneurs in the community. So she actually
wow.
supported few young kids to
Mm,
go through this entire process, which was difficult for her to go
mhm,
through, and created literally from scratch, from idea to the implementation of the
mm,
company. And she helped
mhm.
these entrepreneurs to form this business, right? So that's my daughter. And looking at her, my son was always jumping when he was like really young, saying that I want to create a business. And I would always say to him that, Sahil, if you're creating business so early and if I have to manage it, that's not really your business. So he took all that responsibility. He did all the research, and so he
Yeah.
makes organic products out of coconut oil. And he founded a recipe, and he created his sheet with raw material costs and stuff like that. So that's what he does. And both my kids. That's the inspiration I draw from. But like I said, that entrepreneurship bug was always there.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is when I started looking into this alternate world of investments, and when I found this strategies, of course, initially it was for the purpose of utilization for my family, right? I was looking for example, I mean, when I stopped working, my daughter Ria was in middle school. So I kept looking at her and I was like, oh my God, she's going to be in high school soon and college soon. I just didn't wanted her college choices to be dependent on what I can provide for her, right? So just having this alternate source of income was really important for me. And that's when I started exploring, and these two strategies came out, right? When I implemented this, Kevin, I should have been really happy, right? Okay, I found this something which existed for such a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I just didn't know about it. So I should have been really happy after implementation. It actually made me really, really, really restless,
Mm.
and the restlessness came from, I think it's that's the entrepreneurship plus the educator in
Mm-hmm.
me, is that's what made me restless.
Mm-hmm.
It made me restless that the community that I come from, the IT industry that I come from, they're still working so hard, putting their head down,
Mm-hmm.
saving their money diligently, investing in whatever they know about, and especially the market, which is so risky, plus the
Mm-hmm.
community around me. I mean, everybody who are these busy professionals, busy people, business owners, they just don't know about it. So that kind of created that passion. Think outside the stocks is the result of that passion, and that's how it got formed. That I want to help people, I want to take these strategies and not just tell them about it, but educate them, because that was my problem, to understand these, right? And that's exactly what I do. I not only help to implement these strategies, but I also do simplified education, right? Education that I would have loved to have. I simplify this education and I provide it all free, because I just want to open the door of these possibilities for them. And that's essentially the journey of my entrepreneurship
Okay.
with Think Outside the Stocks. And I love doing what I'm doing right now.
Okay, I really like that. You touched on a lot of things, and some of the things that we have mentioned through different sessions, through these different sessions that I've had with other entrepreneurs. One, if you have young kids, there's no minimum age when it comes to being able to start a business, right?
So
and
true.
and if if your child expresses interest, all you have to do is encourage them. And a lot of times it's difficult for parents to encourage their kids to become entrepreneurs. One, if they don't have an entrepreneur mindset or the bug that you talked about, because you right, you have to have some level of craziness to be an entrepreneur or to have that entrepreneurial bug, and then a level of creativity to be able to see those various opportunities, and to see you or someone else being able to create something, because that's essentially what entrepreneurship is, right? It's the essence of creation. We're creating this business from this idea and we're bringing it into real world implementation. But that's exciting, because I tell people, if you have young children, and they are expressing some type of interest in business, encourage them and kind of help point them in the right direction. And if you don't know particularly what the right direction is, reach out to somebody that you might know who could help them along or kind of point them in the right direction. But that's interesting, and that you have two kids who are actually entrepreneurs. I
Yep.
think that's exciting, and I like the fact that your daughter came up with a summer program where she teaches entrepreneurship from idea to implementation. I actually, a couple years ago, I used to volunteer for a program called Build, and it's actually
Uh-huh.
it's a national program, and they have locations all across the country. And what the nonprofit does is it partners with high schools, and in the high schools, it basically has an after school program where
Right.
they go through an entire curriculum teaching kids about entrepreneurship. And then within the program, they come up with a business idea, and then they spend basically the first semester of school implementing this business idea. And then over the course of the winter break, they put together this big event where the kids, broken down in business teams, are able to actually sell their businesses products during this basically winter gala. And then
Yeah.
in the second half of the year, they are actually able to pitch their business idea to a group of venture capitalists who will help provide them with funding to continue
Right.
their business over the course of the next 3 or 4 years or however
I
long.
love
Yeah,
that programs like a Shark Tank, right? Pitching the
yeah, yeah.
ideas, the business idea. Yeah, my daughter wanted to do that, but with COVID, they couldn't do the fair, so they
Yeah.
did a virtual fair actually. So she had, people talk about their businesses,
Hmm.
in a virtual event. But going back to what you said, that's really important. And you have a younger one, right,
I do.
Kevin?
Yep.
And I would just say that, I mean, to your listeners, to you, that you have to, even as a parent, you have to think outside the box really,
Yep.
and think differently, and kind of listen to them, right? It does just think outside the norms of the society, what you want to do with the kids, and doing the typical things, the music, and chess and this and
Hmm.
that. Try to ask them questions about what they really want to do, and even if
Yeah.
it's completely different. That's what I did. I just listened to them. I
Hmm.
just saw what they wanted to do, and I just provided resources for them to do that and encourage it. So that just simply, that thought goes a long way. So I would recommend the listeners right now,
Hmm.
think differently when it comes to parenting. Don't follow those norms, don't follow the society norms. I didn't, and I don't regret a bit about it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it, and I really love your company's name, Think Outside of the Stocks, and I find it unique that that you have a creative muscle that you continue to exercise. Because not that to generalize IT folks, but generally IT folks. Well, I won't say generally, but from the IT folks I know, they often aren't the most expressive in terms of their creativity. Not that they aren't creative, but they aren't as expressive in their creativity. So and that's not a generalization. That's just based on some of the folks that I know. But I really like the company name. So it's 723. So moving on, one of the things you talked about being, and I'm starting to really learn this. Well, not starting to, I've been learning this over the last couple of months now that I have my first child. It becomes extremely difficult for you to be able to work the hours to provide the time needed to spend family time with your family, as well as provide care and manage and handle all of the other responsibilities that you have.
Yeah.
And so I can better relate and understand that challenge that you have when you're a full-time professional. You have a spouse that you have to spend time with, you have one kid or multiple kids, and you're juggling all of this stuff. And in order for you to be able to provide for your family, you, at least traditional thinking is, I've got to work harder, right? Especially if the primary form of income is from a job and you're looking at this job to provide you with more, then you're probably motivated to try to get some type of promotion or something like that. So now you have this catch 22 in this dichotomy where, I have to work harder, I have to work more in order to earn more,
Yeah.
so I can provide for my family, but at the same time, I'm not able to spend the time with my family. Or when I do spend time with my family, I don't have the energy and the attentiveness because I've got all this other stuff going on from work. So you live that and you see that as a problem within your industry, and that led you to do some research, and that led you to this world of alternative investments. So really quickly, can you just kind of tell us what an alternative investment is, or what the idea of alternative investing is, because some people watching may not really understand the term of alternative investments.
So, like the name of the company, my company says, think outside the stocks. Not many people actually understand, especially when it comes to their retirement account, right? That they have choices outside of the stock market to put their money somewhere else, which can grow, a little bit in a better way, because it's kind of the alternative investments are more risk managed, right? Especially when it comes to real estate. Now, real estate has been a choice of many since thousands of years. I mean, even kings and queens actually, fought for the real estate, right? Technically.
Mhm.
So understanding the entire world of real estate itself is that alternate investment, right? When it comes down to investing in real estate, and if you Google the word real estate investment opportunities or options, you will get millions of results, Kevin. I mean, if you want to narrow down to what strategy you want, it's really finding the needle in the haystack, because there is just enormous amount of information that's
Mhm.
available. Right, when I started doing my alternate investment strategies and I wanted to focus on real estate, there was just ton of options. There is that HGTV famous fix and flip kind of an
Mhm.
option. There is this BRRR strategy. There is this auctions. You can do tax liens there, drive for dollars. There are just so many different options. But as a busy professionals, can you do all this? Can
Mhm.
you just pick up your tools and start fixing a house? Can you take that much risk? If you have that extra 1 hour, it's very important what you said earlier, right? There are just so many responsibilities. You're trying to create, there's this entire world, and having the investments in parallel world with you, in
Mhm.
in the coexisting in the same plane, it's
Yep.
so difficult. So what you're really looking for, and it should be looking for, is something, an investment strategy that you don't have to babysit.
Mhm.
You can babysit your own kids. You can spend that time, rather spend that time with your kids, your family, right? So the keyword passive is really, really important. With the real estate investments, that is the number one problem that I saw, is to narrow down to that one strategy, that 80-20 rule, where that 20% of the strategy, finding that strategy could make that 80% impact to your financial trajectory.
Mhm.
So with real estate, the easier option becomes syndicated world of investment, right? I mean, I'm sure many people, your listeners, may have heard about the word syndication, and many haven't, right? The word syndication is, it seems complex, but it's really simple. It's really saying that it's a group way of investing into something.
Mhm.
Even where two kind of people come together, a set of people who have that experience and expertise, and a set of people who have money to contribute, right? And then you can go in literally, the kind of money that you have into these investments. You could retire, you could invest from your retirement account, you could invest from your cash accounts, wherever, right?
Mhm.
So that's really the world of investments that I want to bring with Think Outside the Stocks. When it comes to the investing strategy, the syndicated commercial real estate, mostly with multifamily, is just this apartment that you see around, or most of us have lived through the apartment complexes, right? So
Mhm.
you get to actually chance to invest in these investments with the kind of money that you have. And the believe me, I mean, the only thing that you have to do is do your due diligence when you're moving into the asset, into the investment, and rest everything is the automatic. Rest
Mhm.
everything is completely passive. So
Mhm.
that's the beauty of it. You move into the investment, and you literally start seeing that cash flow from the rental income or whatever the income in your bank account. After that, that whole asset goes through the business plan, the process, and it exists out maybe about 3 to 5 years or 7 years, whenever you will see the upside in your bank account again.
Mhm.
So that's the world of investing that I expose my investors to. Not only giving that one strategy that's right for them, but also providing periodic education. I
Mhm.
do education every Thursday, every other Thursday, and provide that deeper and deeper knowledge into the what these syndicated investments really mean. And I also do strategic partnership with the syndication teams, so I can bring these investments, these quality investments, to them so they can invest into it. So that's the investing part of it. And the infinity banking, the saving, is just completely different ball game altogether.
Okay. Hold tight. Hold tight. All right. So, all right. Okay. So I am going to post your information because you had mentioned that you do the periodic trainings every Thursday to help educate, just to help educate people on the alternative world of investing, and particularly in the areas that you focus on. So let me post that information now so I don't forget. I am going to post her Facebook information, and you also have a free ebook, right? Can you tell
Yes.
us a little bit about the ebook? And I'll include the information so you can get the ebook as well. But can you tell us a little bit about the ebook while I put this information in?
Definitely. So these strategies that I'm talking about, right? The infinity banking strategy and the alternate investment strategy via syndication. So this strategy had been existing for a number of years now, right? I mean, infinity banking even goes back hundreds of years, 150 years. What I noticed that these are the strategies being used by the wealthy of America, the top 1% of America. And along with this, there are, multiple tools that they have in their toolbox, the processes that they kind of have in their toolbox passes from generation to generation.
Mm,
And that's the ebook about. My ebook is about how to think outside the stocks like top 1% of America.
hmm
And in this ebook, I really like I said, I love the simplification. So I have like a 7-step kind of a blueprint for you where you can take these 7 steps and follow those it's kind of a roadmap, right?
mm,
So follow that roadmap and start thinking about how the top 1% America, how the wealthy of America is, not just saving and investing their money, but they're thinking about growing, preserving, protecting, and passing their money. So that's the whole, ebook is about, that how to think outside the stocks like top 1% of America. And thank you so much, Kevin, for posting that information.
no
I
problem.
also have, like every other Thursday, the events that are coming up. I have been discussing about, this multifamily syndication. I've been talking about infinity banking, just completely dedicated 1 hour discussion. In fact, this Thursday, I'm comparing single family investing with multifamily investing, and what are the pros and cons of
hmm
those two type of investing. So if your listeners are interested, I'll put the link in for the registration too. Please come and join me, and we'll talk about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Put the link in the comments. I'm just finishing up putting the information in the comments now. So I'm posting the link, well, the email her for the free ebook. I'm also including a link to her Facebook page and her Facebook community. So that is posted. All right. Yep, it hyperlinked. Okay. All right, perfect. So okay. All right, perfect. So no, that's all great information. So one of the things you had talked about, well, we started talking about the alternative asset investment world. um, just to contextualize it as well, the alternative investment world is not just made up of real estate. There are a lot of different asset classes that you can invest in. The key is having some level of understanding, some level of experience, or having the resources or the access to the resources, the access to the information. So what she's providing you with is access to the information, access to resources, access to expertise in a particular asset class. And then one of the things that she talks about is the risk portion. Even when you're investing in stocks, those that environment, you don't really have a lot of control over the risk threshold. I mean, you can select what's how aggressive or least aggressive you want to be with the portfolio that you're investing in, but those particular investments, you don't really have control over whether they go up or they go down. And in the alternative asset world, these investments are vetted a lot more openly and a lot more transparent. And the process that operators go through, deal sponsors go through, the actual business people, and we're assuming that is we're talking real estate. I assume it's the same in other asset classes, but there's a certain process that we go through to vet these investments, to limit the amount of risk, and then we can articulate. And one of the things we talked about in her bio, utilizing tangible parameters to be able to assess the level of risk and to minimize that risk, to not guarantee, but to at least ensure that the risk threshold for that investment is clearly articulated and you have a pretty clear idea of what the expected returns are. And then in terms of the investments themselves, they may be short term in nature if it's like a single family project that you're investing in, or they may be maybe done over the course of several years, like a 3 to 5 or 3 to 7 year time frame. And depending on what type of investment it is, it's going to provide an immediate return as well as another return at the conclusion of that investment, or it's going to offer some type of delayed return where there isn't the immediate return, but there's a bigger payoff at the end. It all just depends on the type of investment. But one of the things that's key, especially with you being a working professional, especially with you being somebody who has a lot to manage, it's not always feasible or even makes sense for you to go down the risk path of trying to learn on your own. Now, for some people that works, for other people, that's just not something that they want to do. And it's not something that makes good financial sense. So when you align with someone like Madhavi, she has created an entire business model that one provides you with the knowledge, provides you with the education that you need. And then she utilizes her accounting background, her accounting expertise, her IT expertise, her years of project management, her mathematical skills. She utilizes all of that experience to vet potential investment opportunities for you, and she makes it easy, because if you're going to invest and you're going to invest passively, one of the keys is that it's as easy as possible so that you can spend more time doing the things that you want to do. So if you want to get that ebook, we've included the information in the comment section. Definitely make sure you email her to get the ebook, and then also make sure you join her Facebook community and you like her on Facebook so that you can stay connected with the information and the knowledge that she is putting out there. So it's 7:37. Let's talk a little bit about the infinity banking concept. And I know that you had a couple slides that you wanted to go over. I don't know if we covered that information or not, but if you still want to go over the slides, let's go ahead and go over the slides now. And then if you want, go ahead and talk about the infinity banking concept, as far as you want to talk about it, and we'll finish up by 8 o'clock. Now, before we do that, let me just mention that she is going to be doing a full presentation on infinity banking, on implementing the saving strategy so that you can implement this infinity banking concept into your investment strategy. That's going to be on the second Wednesday of February at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely, as always, I'll publish that information through my Facebook page, my fan page. And if you're on my email list, I'll also publish that information through the email list. So make sure you mark your calendar. Again, that's going to be on Wednesday, the second Wednesday of February at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right.
Yes, certainly. I would love to share my screen. And going back to what you really said, right? That due diligence is so important when we are waiting that sponsors team. We are waiting that deal in particular, right? And especially the environment that we are currently, the COVID impact that we may have had in real estate, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
really important. So that's a really good message to the listeners, that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? You just
Mm-hmm.
have to follow that somebody who has been doing it, so somebody has that tools and techniques to do it, to help you realize what this whole investment world is about. I mean, I wish I had known about the whole multifamily investments, because I really love that how risk managed it is
Mm-hmm.
backed by that real tangible asset. The
Mm-hmm.
asset value is not going to go down suddenly in the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still standing. If even something happens, there's the insurance money that pays for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And consistently over the period of, even if you look back like 15-20 years, it has been providing a consistent return, better than stock market.
Mm-hmm.
So why put your money in the stock market, at risk every single day when you can't even sleep on it, right? So very good message, Kevin. And it's not like I'm against the stock market. I would just recommend that balance it. Balance is important. Diversification is important. When you're doing the diversification, everything is tied to the stock market, like how typical financial advisor would do. That's not a good idea. That's all your eggs in the same basket because it's tied to the same market volatility. So you
Mhm,
look for something else that's completely outside,
mhm,
and that's what the option of real estate offers you, especially when it comes to multifamily.
mhm.
Now let's jump into that discussion about the infinity banking system. And
Okay.
I'm actually going to start about, and again, I mean, I love talking about this. Education is my passion. So I'm going to give you a little bit glimpse, your listener, whoever's watching this today. It's about that webinar that Kevin just announced, and I will take this further, not just keep you dangling there. Take this further in that, that 1 hour there. We'll need the whole 1 hour there. So first of all, I think for me, the most important part, the most important aspect of your wealth maximization. I mean, you can grow your money, right? But is it maximizing the potential of that dollar that you're investing? That's the question, right? So for me, when I talk to my investors, I kind of like to reset that perspective. If you're looking at like a horizontal perspective where you're kind of, saving diligently, investing, whatever you think it's best and growing that portfolio. I like to always look at like kind of a bird's eye point of view, just go up a little bit. And the perspective that I like to bring in front of my investors is about not just growing, but growing, preserving what you have grown. So there's no leakages happening or in now or in future, protecting it from all the different kind of attacks or against if there's something risk to your life too, right? So protecting against it and passing it comfortably to next generation. So that's the perspective that I like to do, that I like to take with my investors, right? And while I'm doing that, why is it really necessary, right? Why should we think about beyond us? Because I really like to look back at our the financial fathers of our
Mhm,
country, right? The Vanderbilts and the Carnegies and
mhm,
Rockefellers of this country. They were the top 10 richest men in America.
mhm,
When they passed, they had like millions of dollars. I mean, if you convert in today's dollars, it's billions of dollars, Kevin. I mean, to imagine that they
yeah.
had that kind of wealth, and now they have about like sixth or seventh generation, right? So we can only imagine that, for example, Vanderbilt family, right? 1.4 billion fortune, sixth generation earlier, they're sitting on that pot. Where would they be? I mean, I would just imagine that they're rolling in like this massive wealth, right?
Absolutely.
But it's very interesting to find out that, this all wealth started distribute the distribution started and kind of destruction of the wealth started. And Anderson Cooper, for example, is a known heir
Mhm,
of wonderful family. He inherited 1.5 million from his mom. Now
mhm.
again, 1.5 million is a really lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, but if you think about from that 1.4 billion, it's just that one, there's that 1 millionaire, right? The
Yeah.
Anderson Cooper. So that's kind of hurts me. That hurts me that people who are earning really hard, I mean, they're working really hard, earning and growing, and some generation later, this is all is going to be flat out. It's going to be ripped off. So that's what I'm trying to help them to put those processes in place, right?
Mhm,
With Carnegie, of course, he did a lot of charity work that was really good, but he did charity work from the source, right? Versus the Rockefeller families, they have 150 heirs, 11 billion wealth in today's dollars, and millions of charities being funded through this cash
mhm,
flow, and they do something completely differently. Instead of them distributing this fortune to the heirs, they distribute the cash flow. So they're
mm,
not, they're not cutting into the wealth of money, the pot of money, the
mm,
pot of gold, but they're
mhm,
just distributing from it, right?
mhm,
So that's the perspective I like to bring it to my clients and their life, my family and my friends and whoever I'm helping, right? So those are some processes or tools from their toolbox that I like to take it. Infinity banking is one of them, right? And if you actually look at the kind of wealth potential that we have, the kind of money that is going to flow through our life stream, what we are capable of earning throughout our life and what we are capable of growing throughout our time, right? if we consider this big tank of money, the small pipe is what annually what is bringing in our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's the first filter that gets applied is that tax filter. There's
Mm-hmm.
some leakage happens there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We fund some money to our standard of living, and from time to time our effort is to push up this chute, right? In two tanks. One is that saving bucket, which is the safety bucket, and the other is the investing bucket, right?
Mm-hmm.
The safety bucket, it is really necessary for us to have that flexibility and liquidity, but on top of it, the most important aspect of it is the safety, right? That the money never evaporates from that. And from the left hand side, from time to time we do take some risk, based on our risk tolerance, and there is some evaporation what happens, and there is better growth that happens too, right? The infinity banking strategy is about this right hand side bucket. When you're putting your money in FDIC insured bank accounts and you're getting that less than 1% interest, like I said, and paying taxes on top of that, 3% inflation is losing that value year after year. The infinity banking system is actually harnessing the power of your savings account, your sleep well account, where you have your emergency money being stuffed, and it's not doing anything for you. It's kind of stagnant. There's like this, the bugs growing on it. You want to take it out and keep on moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the infinity banking system is based on a life insurance model. Now, just believe me, when I say the word life insurance, I know, most of your listeners, they will just shut their mind. I mean, I was like that too. I don't blame them, right? But this is not your typical life insurance. This is a strategy using life insurance. Why? Because life insurance, not any life insurance, but a whole life insurance product. So not term life, not IUL, the index, universal life. It's specifically the whole life insurance product. And what it means that you are kind of a part of this company, the mutual companies, you are kind of a stakeholder, shareholder. So they provide you dividend, like how some good stocks would provide you dividend, right? So they have this history of going back like hundreds of years, 150 years, of providing this consistent dividend year after year. So the thought behind this strategy, again, this is not your ordinary life insurance. You have to create the framework in a very particular way that you stuff that money instead of the bank account. You put that money into the insurance policy, and because this money is sitting here now, they provide you this dividend year after year. This year, one of my favorite company, 5.75% was the dividend that they paid on these policies, right? So your money, which was not growing at all, which was stagnant, we took that and we put it into this vehicle. So not only it starts giving you better interest than the bank, but the growth inside is tax free, completely tax free. So you can compound it, saving that taxes, you can compound that year after year, and your money starts growing much, much better than what the banks typically would do. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the power of this system. And there are other advantages, like you
Mm-hmm.
can withdraw from it tax free using some strategies. You can contribute to it without any limit. You can literally create your own limit to it. And one of the key advantages of this, that this has never lost a penny to anyone. Even if you go look back in 2008 recession, this insurance companies paid this dividend consistently. If you go back look at Great Depression time, they have paid this dividend consistently. So that is the power of this infinity banking system.
Mm-hmm.
It gets grossly ignored because it's based on that insurance product. And I highly encourage the viewers that take a look at it. It is something that you are missing out on. This is something that families like Rockefellers have been using generation after generation to grow, preserve, protect, and pass their generational wealth. So if you look at it, you understand it, and I'm here to simplify it for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I help simplifying, understanding, educating, and not only that, I help to use the strategies, to take that step further. For example, if you have like 100K in that system, and you have a syndicated investment that comes through, right? You can literally take that money without using that money. You can leverage that money. The money still continues to grow compounded inside every year after year. And you can put it into the investment that you have.
Mm,
Now it's really the same dollar is growing at two different places. So you could do this for multiple purposes. You could use it for your investments. You could do it even for education purposes like 529 plan. You could even set up your retirement income from that. So that's the kind of education that I focus on. I really simplify it. I narrow it down. I tell you. So I would really highly encourage you guys that take a look at what power of this strategy is, understand what it can do for you, and then decide if that's right for you or not.
hmm.
But don't just rule it out saying that, oh, it's life insurance. No, it's not typical life insurance. It needs to be structured in a different way. It needs to be understood in a different way in order for you to come and implement it.
I love it. I love it. That was perfect. That was a great overview. I like the intro too with some of the richest men that made a lot of money in this country. Man, I was just talking about Rockefeller yesterday, and it's amazing the type of money that these men made, and they didn't have the technology, right? Like a lot of wealth these days are created with technology, and they didn't have that. It was just through the natural systems of railroading and utilities and things like that.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
worked so hard. They
Yeah.
worked so hard in their times to build that,
Hmm.
that empire, and to just think that it's vanished, it doesn't exist. I mean, that's painful. I mean, right now when I'm thinking about how I'm growing my money, and to think about that, few generations later, this is just going to be destroyed.
Hmm.
That's painful. I don't want that to happen to my family. I don't want that to happen to anybody. So
Hmm.
that's my mission. I want to help that one family at a time.
Hmm.
And my mission is essentially to change that financial trajectory of one family at a time, and million more to go. So I'm just going to keep on doing and spreading this word about these two strategies, because
Hmm.
I think that has superpower to change that financial trajectory of your money, of potential, of your money's growth potential.
Hmm.
So it's just not about growing money, it's about how you can maximize the potential of your money.
Hmm. Yeah, I like it, and I like too that you have area that you're passionate about, and you're focused on that passion, and you're digging deeper within that focus to help, like you said, help as many people as you can, and to help each person individually, one at a time. And I like I think this session was definitely 7:52. I think this session definitely was good for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons being, with what you just said, you have to think about yourself, and think about your earnings from a different perspective. How you said, I don't want to work this hard. And one of the things I talk about when I talk about entrepreneurship, and I'll try to bring these two ideas together, is even if you work for a job, you still are an entrepreneur in a sense, right? You still work for yourself. And I try to encourage people to look at themselves separately from their job, look at themselves separately from that pay that they receive, because a lot of times we fall into associating our financial power, our financial earning ability, is directly relative to what our job pays us, and it's hard for us to conceptualize our ability to earn outside of what that salary may be. And by you saying, hey, if I'm working and I'm working this hard, the company is not just going to take everything from me and just leave me with this basic salary. I'm going to
Right.
take this salary and I'm going to use it to empower myself, and then I'm going to use it to empower my family for generations to come. I don't want
Absolutely.
all of this hard work and all of these hours to go and to be lost simply because I didn't go through the process of educating and learning, and then implementing these simple strategies that I can implement that will allow me to utilize those tools, right? Those tools that wealthy people use. I have access to those same tools. I may not have the same amount of money, but I have access to the same tools, and I can implement those tools that,
Yep.
as I implement them, my family is then able to continue to implement them, to learn about them, to spread that message, and all of those good things. So I like it. It was good information.
No, I love what you're doing, Kevin. I mean, you have been providing so much content out there, not just from this whole wealth management perspective, but what you said about the whole entrepreneurship and putting all this together. The mindset is so important too, right? It's not about that, oh, we are not wealthy, we don't need to do that. But no, you need to start doing that. You need to start somewhere, right? And the word retire is kind of a, interesting word, right? Retired doesn't mean that you stop working, or it's just you start doing something that you want to do, right? So many people I have come across, my investors, that they have this dream about, maybe I want to start a restaurant, or maybe I want to start a yoga class or something else, right? So living the life of that choices is that's what I'm trying to do, with Think Outside the Stocks, with one family at a time. That's what you are trying to do, right? So I love that the type of content, the type of mindset that you bring to people. Keep doing what you're doing, and I really loved being here today too. So thank you so much for doing this.
No problem, no problem. It was good having you. I'm glad we were able to connect, and this is our first official collaboration together. So I look forward to staying connected and being able to share the knowledge and share the information and share the life experience with other people. I have become a very passionate about teaching and educating, just as much as you have, and I love being able to share that energy and that experience with you. So thank you for taking some time out today. I know you got more work to do today. So I appreciate you for logging on with us. And for everybody who's watching, remember, if you want the free ebook, just email her and she'll get the ebook to you. Also, make sure you follow her on Facebook and also request to join her Facebook community so that you can continue to stay connected, get some of that good information, and hopefully you be able to do some business at some point in time with her, because as you can tell, she's passionate about what she does, and we are here just to help you out and help you achieve your financial freedom goals. So thanks again for logging on, and with that, I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Kevin, again, and thanks to your listeners too, and people who took some time out to be with us today.
Okay, all right, no problem. Take care. Have a good one.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.